Hi, today I'll be showing you how to code a few patterns with very little CSS. So first off, we're going to start with the HTML element. We're going to set the first pattern on it. We're going to start with a height, which is going to be a full viewport height. Then we're going to set a background, which is going to be a gradient. However, it's not going to be a linear gradient. I only auto-completed with that because we don't have autocomplete for conic gradient, which we really should, but we don't. Okay, we're going to go 3/4 of the way with transparency, so transparent up to 75%. 3/4 of the way, and then we're going to use the first color we have in that list. So we're going to have a sharp transition there. Okay, so as you can see, we can have that quarter, which is the first color in the list. Then we can make this smaller with a background size, so reduce this to a background size of, let's say, something like 5 ems. Let's give ourselves a bit more space here. So we're going to set a background position, because we need to set the background position in the shorthand if you also want to set the background size in the shorthand. Set the background size both horizontally and vertically. And we need to do this because otherwise it's not necessarily going to be square. So per spec, the second value, if it's not specified, it defaults to auto, which computes to 100% in the case of gradients. So WebKit browsers initially implemented the second value to be equal to the first one if the second one wasn't specified, but that was wrong. So we need to specify them both, bottom line. Okay, having done this, you can see that those squares are about half the way, both horizontally and vertically. And in order to change that, we can set an origin for the cone of the conic gradient. So let's say this is going to be something like 0.19 times the background size. Doesn't really matter. So we're going to set there at that origin, both along the x and the y axis. Okay, now we can also tweak the background position a bit. So let's say it's going to be something like calc 50% minus 0.5 times, and then we're going to need to add up those two. Okay, so here we're going to set the position both ways along both axes, both the x and the y axis. So oh, sorry, I pressed the wrong key, the key next to it, and we had the circularity. So now as you can see, everything is properly aligned, even if we resize stuff. So that's good. Now the background is white, so let's make it a bit more obvious that those areas in between the squares are transparent. So we're going to do that with a second gradient, and this one is going to take the last two stops. So at index 4 and then the one at index 5. So index 4 and then index 5, and we can have something like, I don't know, 150 degrees. I'm guessing that works. Should work, something like this. Okay, so now that we have this, I want to show you a second pattern, and for that we're going to add a section. Actually, we're going to add two sections. So this first one and a second one. And we're going to take this part out, right? So take this part out. This is going to be background. Okay, and this is going to be on the body. Okay, now section, we're going to set on the first one nth child. Now, of course, for now, we're not going to see anything because this has a height of 0. So let's fix that. But first off, let's get rid of that scroll bar, which is annoying. Then we're going to set display grid. And this is going to give this, yep, this works great. Okay, now we're going to set a similar background on the second one. So it's going to be something like this. And now we need to change the index right here, right? And the second thing we want to do is change the order of these stops. So here we're going to have transparent, and here we're going to have that first color, right? Okay, so now as you can see, it looks like it gets inverted there, and it's actually what we have, because here we have squares and here we have square holes, right? So here we have squares sticking out and here we have square holes. Just to make it a bit more obvious that we actually have holes there, let's set a second gradient here. So it's going to be a repeating a linear gradient, and it's going to be something like, I don't know, let's take the one in the middle, because we haven't used that one so far. 0 to 3 pixels, then transparent 0, 9 pixels, I don't know, something, whatever works is fine. And let's say it's going to be at 45 degrees. Oh yeah, I need a comma there. So this should work now, and you can see it there, right? It's pretty clear there as well. You can see the stripes. Actually, it's not that obvious with that value, so let's use the second one, because I'm pretty sure it's more obvious with that one, as you can see. So yeah, having done this, let's collapse this. And we can add 2 more sections, because I want to show you something else. So here, oh, I forgot to paste them. So I copied them and I did not paste them. Okay, now we have 4 sections in total. And here we're going to have 3 and 4. Okay. And here we're going to change this a bit. So the background is going to be a linear gradient, and it's going to go off from the second one. We're going to take the first one and the third one, because you haven't used the third one before. So yeah, it's becoming difficult to keep count of what was whatever. So let's say something like 30 degrees. Okay, and this is going to be a mask. Okay, so as you can see, those squares change. Let's make it something like 75 degrees. I think it's going to work better. Yeah, so as you can see, they are darker here and they get lighter as they get to the other end. And for this second one, the fourth one, the last one, we're going to have something similar. So instead of that background, we're just going to copy paste that. And as you can see, that background becomes a gradient, right? And this can be a radial one, actually, radial gradient. Let's make this circle, because otherwise it's not really going to work. So yeah, it can be a radial gradient. It doesn't necessarily have to be. So but let's remove the circle still. Something like this. I don't know. I don't think it works that well with radial. It's better linear. I like it better linear. But just so you know, we can use just about any gradient, any pattern there, and then we use the mask, and yeah, we get those holes. So this is it. This is what I wanted to show you for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, and you like my work, the work that I've been putting out for more than 8 years now, and you want me to be able to do more stuff in the future, please consider supporting it. You can do so by being a cool cat and becoming a patron on Patreon. The link is going to be in the description. Or you can get me something off my Amazon wishlist. Again, the link is going to be in the description for that as well. Or you can at least share this to show the world what can be done with CSS these days, because honestly, it's pretty damn cool. In any event, thanks for watching. You're going to find links for everything, including this demo, including this article that I wrote, and which features a lot more other conic gradient pattern examples, and they're detailed. So yeah, everything is explained with illustrations and so on. You can find it all in the description below. So until next time.